Today I have another exciting game of Mechabellum for you. My opponent for this match is called Cullen Werwe.
Let's get ready to rumble!
For my opening pick, I go with the Supply Specialist. This comes with both crawlers and storm callers for starting units. Now, to decide on a formation. I place the 3 units of crawlers behind my towers and across the middle of my board. This should cause them to spread out nice and evenly. I tend to put my storm callers wide of the towers. This reduces the chance of both units locking on to the same target. I also like to place the storm callers in a vertical orientation, so they fire one after the other, rather than all of them firing at the same time. Finally, I spend all of my round 1 credits on a single unit of steel balls. Steel balls and crawlers work well together since both have the same movement speed. The strategy here is to attack my opponent quickly and aggressively. While I'm waiting, I have a quick look at my opponent's board. My opponent is starting the game off with some sledgehammer tanks and fangs. Both these units are slow-moving, which makes them vulnerable to my Stormcaller's missile barrage. Also, tanks and fangs often need some levels and tech before they start to come online. The crawler and steel ball combo can often get the better of them in the early rounds.
Round 1. Fight!
I win round 1 and hit my opponent for over 300 health points. At the start of round 2, I decide to pick up the heavy armor module. This will allow me to double the health of my steel ball units straight away. Thanks to a strong opening round, I'm also able to level up the very same unit of steel balls that were just upgraded with the heavy armor module. With my remaining credits, I purchase an additional unit of steel balls and place them on the other side of my board. I then put another unit of crawlers in my back corner behind the steel balls that have just been leveled up and upgraded.
Round 2. Fight!
I win round 2 and hit my opponent for over 400 health points. At the start of round 3, I'm offered a selection of free units. However, I'm not really sure I want any of them at this point in time. I pick up the Phoenix, which I then sell immediately for 400 credits, using the Field Recovery ability. The additional credits come in very handy, as I'm then able to level up 4 separate units. I also purchase an additional unit of crawlers and 2 more units of steel balls. I'm well aware that I have no anti-air at this point in time. However, my ground game is going very strong and gathering momentum with each passing round. I want to keep the pressure on. I decide to purchase 2 missiles in an attempt to take out 2 separate units of my opponent's sledgehammer tanks. If successful, it might bait the opponent into buying shields during future rounds.
Round 3. Fight!
I win round 3 and hit my opponent for over 1,200 health points. At the start of round 4, I'm offered the Ranged Specialist. This is expensive, but worth it. The steel balls will be able to lock on to enemy targets sooner, while keeping a safer distance. I level up my units where possible. This leaves me with only 300 credits remaining. I decide to unlock and purchase 2 units of Marksman. The Marksman will at last give me some anti-air units, and they can also pick off tanks at distance. Lastly, I purchase the level 1 defensive buff from the research center.
Round 4. Fight!
I win round 4 and hit my opponent for over 700 health points. At the start of round 5, I pick up the Super Heavy Armor module. This is very expensive, but worth it under the current circumstances. My opponent is already struggling to kill my steel balls, and that job is about to get much harder. My opponent is not protecting their flanks, and it's time to exploit that. And so I purchase 2 units of Wasps. I place 1 unit of Wasps on each of my opponent's flanks. I also unlock the jump drive tech straight away. The increased movement speed offered by the jump drive tech will allow my Wasps to get to the opponent's towers faster.
Round 5. Fight!
I win round 5 and hit my opponent for over 1,000 health points. At the start of round 6, I'm offered a choice of free units. At first, I'm tempted to go with the Wraiths, as that would give me some heavy air units. But in the end, I pick up the 2 units of level 6 arc lights. I place the arc lights between my marksmen, near the center of my board. I then purchase the elite tech for these arc lights, as this will instantly give them a massive range and damage bonus. I then level up a few units before repositioning my wasps. My opponent will almost certainly deploy a counter unit to those wasps, so moving them to my backline is a good idea. Plus, steel balls and wasps do tend to work well together. I then decide to unlock the armor tech for my steel balls, thus increasing their resilience. 2 more units of steel balls are then purchased. This is now an all-out crawler and steel ball aggro push in an attempt to close out the game. Lastly, 2 more missiles are purchased in an attempt to take out the opponent's sledgehammer tanks as soon as the round begins. A speed buff is also purchased from the command center to help the aggro push.
Round 6. Fight!
I win round 6 and hit my opponent for 600 health points. At the start of round 7, I pick up yet another heavy armor module. I then spend 550 credits leveling up my units. The heavy armor module is then placed on a unit of steel balls to double their health. The focus on leveling up and upgrading my steel balls throughout the game has really paid off. My opponent can't seem to stop them at this point. My opponent's units are tightly grouped together. And so I decide to unlock the electromagnetic tech for my Stormcallers. The electromagnetic missiles will temporarily remove any tech upgrades my opponent might have purchased for their own units. I even add 1 additional unit of Stormcallers to my board for good measure.
Round 7. Fight! Fatality.
Well, that's the end of this video. If you enjoy this type of content, remember to hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.